that is on the server side for free. And so just to be clear, to get any of these things I'm showing, you have to have access to your control panel, which means you went and got web hosting with us. And then when you get back here, you will see right over here a button. Now, you might not have some of these, so I just want, for recording's sake, some of these components you see here, if you're missing some of them, don't panic. They will be coming, okay? What we're talking, like I've got some other software stuff that we're working on, like a logo maker software and some stuff to do with your social media accounts and some other things that we're playing with. So you might not see some of these, but what you will have is this app installer, okay? And when you get the app installer that's on your control panel, which is at your Sure Support Serving account with us, when you click on that, this opens up this thing over here to where you have all of this software that we've loaded up for free. Now, this is open architectural type software, so it's the value we have is not that this software would cost you anything if you went somewhere else. I mean, you can go to Joomla right now or WordPress and download your software for free. The value is we've got this one-click install situation where you don't have to go in and do a lot of programming and stuff that would typically what it would be required to upload some of this stuff onto a server. So we've made it easy for you. The other thing that we're trying to do is put this in a situation where you guys can sell this as a service and software to your clients. So you could go in and say, hey, we'll get you a website set up. We'll get you marketing assets through our app, which is this over here that we've been talking about forever. And that's what, TW3 is all about, is marketing and lead generation. But not only do you have the marketing service that you've always had, but now you have what we call the management service of a business. Of course, the websites like WordPress and Joomla would manage content. Then you have other softwares like OpenCart and PrestaShop, which this right here is just an example. This is an electrical company that our clients are working with, and they set up an entire shopping cart just for this company. So any of their several hundreds, thousands, I don't know how many employees they have in this particular company, but if they need to buy, hats, shirts, boots, anything that to do work here, they've got their own company store here, and they just go in, and what happens is that order goes straight to the vendors and it's drop shipped to the employee and stuff like that. So this is something that one of our clients resold here. And it's what you can do as well. Okay. So if you've got restaurant, retail, shop owners, people in the trades like this, any company that would need to manage their inventory of, say, reselling gear and stuff, in this instance, restaurant might want an online shopping cart to be able to do online orders, and then have that order go right out to either their own in-house delivery system or connect it to a third-party delivery system. I mean, there's all different services that you could provide, to be able to offer that shopping cart. This shopping cart doesn't cost you anything, okay? And the only thing you have to get for your client is, of course, the hosting account, which is $10 a month, basically. And then whatever you charge for service, or just if you want to make this an add-on benefit, you position it however you want. But that right there is what these shopping cart softwares will do. Okay, just to be clear. You've seen WordPress, so we don't have to talk about that, but Drupal, Joomla, WordPress are apps that would do website design and stuff like that. And we've got another website builder over here as well. The other thing that I'm really, really excited about, and I've spent a lot of time on, is this cloud system right here. It's a software here, and I've already put it on my website. You can, I don't know if you can see it in your system at terrywilson3.com/cloud. Takes you here, and it allows me to basically replace Outlook, Microsoft, Windows, or not Windows, but Word, not Keynote, that's Apple, but PowerPoint, and all of those types of office software that comes with Windows. But not only that, I've got this file system right here where I can upload files and have as many files. So my Dropbox has been replaced. And then I come over here and I go to talk, and I can have inter-office webinars and online meetings right there through the talk system as well. So in essence, what we've done here is we have replaced about a few $100s worth of software with just this one free software right here that you're going to be able to offer clients, and them be able to manage their company's calendar, files, inter-office communication, all of that, as well as having all the marketing components. So it's really cool. So anything that a company would need from marketing to management, you have the assets for. Now, from a technical standpoint, I was talking to Lori before we got started. How do you install this? So let me just give you the TikTok here so it's clear on how to get this installed. If you already have a website on your server and you're wanting to add one of these components to your existing server, you want to add one of these. Well, what you want to do first, now you don't have to do this if it's a brand new hosting that you just purchased. But if there's already content on this hosting account, like a website, and you want to add one of these apps, the first thing you want to do is go make a subfolder or a subdirectory, okay? Because if you don't do that, what will happen is you'll wipe out your website, and you don't want to do that. And by the way, if you do that, anytime you screw up, I can't count how many times I have royally screwed up my own personal website. And you want to talk about someone that goes into panic mode, spend 14 years creating content and just feeding it on your website, and then one fatal mistake and all of a sudden you feel like, oh gosh, I've lost all that. All you have to do, if that ever happens to you, make a big mistake. Just a side note here, go back into your control panel. There's a button right here called Restore. Okay, when you go into Restore, it's going to ask you, what are you wanting to restore? Okay, well, I want to restore probably some files. Okay, so you just go through that and go through the prompt, and I don't want to do this, but so far, because I don't want to actually restore, but up to 12 months, you can go back in and you can pick which directory. Well, it was my main directory, and you just walk through, what am I wanting to restore? And you can restore it back from yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever the time might be. Typically speaking, for me, if I go into that situation where I'm wanting to restore something, it's because I just made a mistake. So I just want to go back an hour or two. It don't have to go back days. But if for whatever reason, let's say you just got in a situation where you want to restore it back to where it was a month ago, whatever, you can do that. Okay. Just a side note there. Now, when I'm wanting to add one of these apps, I'm going to File Manager right here. And when I go to File Manager, what I'm going to be is putting in this on my main domain. Okay. So I want to go there, which is the www. And then I want to open that main file up. And right here are all my subfolders, if you want to count. So right here, I'm going to create a directory and a file. Okay. So if I want to add, let's say, for instance, shopping cart, create directory. Exactly. I'm not wanting to create a file. I'm wanting to create a directory. Shopping cart. So I just click on create directory right here. And when I create that directory, when I click on it, it'll tell me it's created. So now all I go back to is to the home of my control panel. I go back to app installer. Okay. And then when I'm going to install that open cart, let's say, for instance, I want to use that shopping cart. Well, right there's my information. It auto populates that. And then I just put in my email, Wilson3.com. And then very important here, there's the domain location right here. That's where, if I don't do this, I'm going to make a big mistake. Okay, so I put shopping cart right there and I install. Now, if I did everything right, holding my mouth correctly and through the power of the internet, nothing between my ears, all of that. If that works, it starts running. Okay. And it tells me it's running right now. And so it's doing that. And it'll take just a few moments. And then it's done. Now, if I did everything correctly, I should be able to just hit this link right here and it opened right up, which it did. Okay, so it's missing the index file, which I can fix real quick. It's a little squirrely, but that tells me it's installing. Okay, which means I just got to go in and change what that is a database problem that I got to go in and fix, which to be honest with you, what I would do instead of getting into the weeds and going over to my control panel and going under MySQL database, because what happens is you have to update that. I'm not going to get that far in the weeds. What I'm going to do is go right up here to 24/7 support. I'm going to give them that link and say, hey, my website's not showing correctly. Can you fix that for me? And they will. But just so you know, if you wanted to know, that is a database problem that has to be updated through MySQL. But I don't want to get that far in the weeds to fix that, but they'll fix it for you. But that's all you do, and it's right there. Okay. And then once that's done, it will show up. And let me show you a website I've already loaded it on. The only reason I know that's because I've had this problem with this site right here. I played with it, just uploading it to my wife's site. And what it is just a template-based website. You go in and start changing all this. These are just placeholders. And so rather than having to go and pay $10 a month for Ecwid or Shopify or whatever you're using, you've got your own shopping cart right there that you can create. Okay. And it comes with this software that's right back here. Now, I don't want that on my site right now because I'm actually doing some other things. So I'm going to go in and delete that. And I'll show you how to do that as well. If you put something on your site and you just don't want it, all I have to do is go back to File Manager. By the way, nothing here is permanent. Okay. There's nothing you can do here that's just going to be locked in and like, oh my God, it's going to be there and it's going to be that way forever. So I can go right in here. I can go to that particular subfolder. I call them folders, but they're actually, what's the language they're using? They're called directories. I don't know if I like that language, but anyway, I just click on that right there and I go right over here and I hit delete directory. Okay. And so that directory and any content that's inside that directory is going to be deleted. So now if I go over here and I click on that, here's what should happen through the power of the internet. Should go back to my website and say, hey, there's nothing there, not found. Why? Because that directory has been deleted. All right. So what do you think, Lori? Did that help you get the TikTok on that? You got any questions? Someone was asking, hey, if we want to have multiple websites on our hosting account, how do we do that? That's exactly how you do it. Okay, so instead of OpenCart, I would go over to WordPress and I would install WordPress there or Joomla or anything else. So the important thing about this whole thing is make sure you create that directory first. And then when you go to App Installer and it asks you, where do you want to install this, what location, you put the exact, and when I mean exact, I'm talking about spelling, a case, everything. If you make a one letter capital and it wasn't that way on the other, it will mess you up. I spent 4 hours on the phone the other day. I kid you not, 4 hours with someone who could not access a file on their server, and it was because they kept putting it in all caps. And I kept telling them, check your spelling, check it, because I'm going there. It's there, and they could not get there. And then finally, after hours of back and forth through text and everything, it was just, they were capitalizing one thing. So, I mean, it's very, very specific, when you're dealing with websites and URL addresses. So just for the recording, everyone needs to know that. But yeah, you can now keep in mind, the more things that you put on your website, there's two things that you're driving up. You're driving up space, you're taking up more space, But more importantly, it's not even space that's the big issue. It's the CPU usage. Because for these softwares to work, there's a computing speed that you're taxing. And the more you taxi, the more you're either going to slow down or have to update. So the way I would do it personally, and the way I am doing it, just so you know, for anything that's mine, like my shopping cart, my cloud space there for my office, my personal business, it's on my website. But if it's for another company or customer or client or affiliate, I put it on a separate site. That way I can just keep it delineated in my mind, in my filing system. Good stuff. But the big thing I wanted to get out to the public here is these various software systems here, and how, the only thing you're having to pay for as the reseller here is just the space. And once you've got that, you literally are replacing $400 or $500 a month in services and softwares that people would have to pay. So there's plenty of margin there for you to, because once you start adding up, what does it cost to have Dropbox? What does it cost to have Zoom? What does it cost to have website hosting? What does it cost? Just start breaking it down. That's going to give you, okay, here's my margin. Here's what I got to play with. And so you position it however you want. So right there, think about this, guys. When someone goes buys Zoom, when they go get Microsoft Outlook and all these Microsoft softwares, when they go get a website, they have to pay for that software and the hosting, that monthly fee, but they don't get you as well. And so what value can you add to it that I'm going to be your point of contact rather than you going and getting something from Microsoft or Google or whatever else and paying, or Zoom? I'm going to be competitive on what these folks are paying you. Plus you've got an inside person right here that's going to help you. And then it gives you plenty of margin to say, and there's a setup fee. There's a concierge service here. I'll do this for $200-$300. I'll get it set up for you. And I would tell you guys right now, I wouldn't even do it myself, because as well as I do, you can go to Fiverr, you can go to Freelancer, you can go to Upwork, you can go to any of these websites that connect people who won't work with people who have a technical skill that are looking for work. And you can pay someone, especially offshore sometimes. And they're safe, because the way the business end works is, if, let's say, for instance, there's someone that'll, for $50, they'll set up an entire website for you. Well, you're not paying them, you're paying Freelancer or Upwork or Fiverr, and it goes into escrow. And then when you sign off on it, it's being done, they release the funds, and then you get the work. So it protects both parties too. So I would just tell you, don't be afraid to offer some of these services feeling like I've got to be the person that's doing all the technical grunt work. You don't, because even though I can do it myself, I don't have the time to do it, nor do I want to do it. And I know my skill set is going out using our marketing system, finding the customer and providing them value and being able to sell them $500, $1,500, $2,500 worth of value, and then knowing how to go and find someone for a couple $100 total when I talk about the hosting and the labor, and get it done. And that's how I make my money. I spend $200 on the hosting and the labor, and I resell it for $2,500. So you guys can do the same thing. And so, especially in the backdrop of where we're at and where all the pontificates and pundits say we're going, I think anytime you can show a business person how they can get more customers and then manage your business in a more efficient way, I just think you've got a solution that serves a current problem that probably people are very painfully aware of. So you're going to be able, if nothing else, you can go in and say, hey, I can cut your cost of doing business maybe by up to 70%, depending on what all you're using. Is it worth 5 minutes of your time? And then you just go in and you ask them, do you have Dropbox? Do you use Zoom? Do you use this? Just start going down. What do you pay? They're going to give you exactly all the information you need to know what and how to sell them just by asking some pointed questions. Yes, I use this. Yes, I use this. What are you? Well, that's $800 a month. What if you could get it for $500? Knowing your dead cost is $10 a month for the hosting, and then whatever you want to charge for a setup fee. So there's plenty of margin here when you know where the assets are and you know where the skill sets are to be able to make it happen.